computer. Okay, it's recording. So let us share the screen. We are here now. Okay, we're gonna do. Uh, I'm gonna bring this poem number 50. It's poem number 50 from Divan Shams, as you guys know, and uh, it's a short poem, pretty short, and it has a lot of, right here you go. I guess one, two, three, four, five, six, seven uh, verses, which in the case of Rumi, as you guys probably know, it's a short. Usually he does 10, 12, 13, 14, and I have seen much longer one, but this one is kind of short. And so let's get started. I'm gonna, as usual, I'm gonna do the Farsi version, Farsi first, Persian, and then we do the translation verse by verse. ای بگرفته از وفا، ای بگرفته از وفا گوش کران، چرا بر من خسته کرده ای روی گران، چرا. As you can see, uh, each each poem in Rumi has a music. It's a rhyme, and you see at the beginning I usually make a mistake and then I correct myself, because if you don't follow the rhyme, it's not pretty. He has a lot of music in his, and he was a musician. He played an instrument, so we have to be careful in how we read. He wants the music has to be kept and preserved. ای بگرفته از وفا گوش کران، چرا بر من خسته کرده ای روی گران، چرا means why. He asks a lot of whys in this poem. In the following verses, human being asks questions from God. Man is asking questions from God. Oh, you beloved, why you're not loyal to me and running away from me? This is Rumi. This is uh, Rumi as a representative of all of us is uh, is questioning God, asking questions, talking to God, and why you're uncaring to me, who is hurt by your indifference. So in these poems, he repeats why, to encourage us to think about our situation and understand the reason we are trapped and distant from our beloved and life. So Rumi is questioning why, and the repetition of the why is because he wants to focus and uh, tell us uh, why we are away from God, why we are not, why uh, our why we don't see face of God Almighty, and we feel that He's not loyal to us and He's running away from us. Right? This is what He's trying to do. Now He's working reverse psychology, as in modern, as now we say. He's he's working on uh, reverse psychology, because he's telling us that we are the one who's doing that to God. God is always open. God is always loyal. God is always looking at us. His face is toward us. We are the one who is turning away. But he's quick. But he's designing. He's bringing it up this way. He wants to get our attention. بر دل من که جای توست، کارگه وفای توست، هر نفسی همی زنی زخم سنان، چرا. Why you are at every moment hurting my heart, which is your place and location, and is always loyal to you. So in here, with uh, indirectly, uh, Rumi tells that our heart is God's place, right? Is the God's place, and and it's supposed to be loyal to us. It's supposed to be. But he says, why you're not now. گوهر نو به گوهری برد سبق ز مشتری جان و جهان همی بری جان و جهان چرا. You are like a new jewel and your newness and value are better than stars and more desirable than jewelry for a buyer. Oh, you are my word and life. Why, you're infatuated, my word and life. You have taken my heart and you have taken everything from me. You have taken all my existence. So here, because we are in living in this world, so he is basically comparing the God to jewelry, like a jewel. You're no, and you're so beautiful and shining that you are more desirable than stars. And you are taking everything from me. You have taken all my existence, all my being, all my everything in me. You have taken it. چشمه خضر و کوثری ز آب حیات خوشتری ز آتش هجر تو منم خشک دهان چرا. Then another question he's asking, chera means why. You are the fountain and spring of eternity and infinity. You gave me a lot of everything, and you are more delicious than the water and juice of life. Why? From the heart of your love and separation, uh, uh, I am so thirsty and have a dry mouth. So here is you're the fountain, you are the most delicious water. Why I have a dry mouth? Why I'm thirsty? You are everything. You are the fountain of infinity and the fountain of life. And still I am uh, thirsty and dry mouth. Again, he's asking the question. مهر تو جان نهان بود مهر تو بی نشان بود در دل من ز بهر تو نقش و نشان چرا. Oh, your life like your love like life is hidden and concealed. Your love is without any form and signs. Why in my heart and inner being I imagine you as a form and imaginary face. So basically here Rumi says that your love is like life is hidden. See, we don't see the life in us and others, right? I don't see life in us, in me, and I don't see life in you guys because I my my heart's eye is blind, right? I see that you're moving and you're doing things and you're talking and you're acting, so I realize there is life in you, but I don't see your life. It's like when you see that the leaves of a tree is moving, you realize that there is a wind is blowing, right? So the same thing from your movement, I see that you have life, but yet you're alive, but I don't see the life in you. And here Rumi says, why I have made you a form in my heart, because I know you are formless. Why I make a form out of you? Because you see, because we see, because we in this world we see everything as a stuff, as things. So we are doing the same thing to the Almighty too. That's what he's asking here. Now in this verse, God is answering us. So here we as man are asking God question. In this verse, God is answering, responding, replying. گفت که جان جان منم دیدن جان طمع مکن ای بنمود روی تو صورت جان چرا. So God life told me, I am the life of the life, and you should not try to understand and see me with your five senses. You don't, because here at the in the previous verses, we were, as a man, as a human being, we were asking God, why this, why that? And God says, answer, he says, hey, you cannot see me with your senses because that's what you're expecting. That's why you don't see me, because you're using your senses, which are to recognize and see stuff and things for me, which in essence, I am not a thing, right? I'm light, right? Not light that even can see with this eye, but I'm just saying that I'm not a thing. I'm not stuff. I'm not from the, you're looking at me as a stuff because you are used to seeing everything as a stuff and things, but I'm not that way. Then, then human being answers God and asks him. The second verse is from human from a man to God again. Oh, you have shown your essence in everybody and everything. Why I cannot see you naked from your signs in everybody and everything. Now here again, so we understand God tells us, hey, you cannot see me, but then we are asking, you have shown yourself in every form, in every form. Why I still cannot see you? ای تو به نور مستقل وی تو ز اختران خجل بست و دلی میان دل زبرگمان چرا Oh, you are alive to my light and stars are ashamed of their light when they realize how shining is your light. Why you, due to your delusion, you become doubtful. So now here it's about us again, and this is a little bit uh, because I read different sources to understand this. Now this is a bit on. It seems so, because some sources they say this is now God talking to human beings. Some say no, human beings talking to God, and some it's saying that this is about a perfect human being, basically complete human being. That uh, that the perfect human being, the complete person, is is sep- is independent from everything, and it and by itself it shines light on everything, and his light is so powerful and strong that the stars are ashamed of their own light. But at the same time, he says, God here says to us, why you are doubtful, why you're doubtful, why you're not seeing me clearly. Okay, so as you can see, this is a conversation. Uh, this is the conversation between a lover and beloved. And when you get to that point of Rumi, and which we obviously we are far from it. He's talking. Rumi, when he talks to beloved, to Almighty, he's in a close relationship. He's worked all his life to get close to God, and uh, he has removed uh, a lot of uh, drapes which are on the God's face. So he has a a close relationship, so he can talk like this. And then he wants to share his dialogue with God with us. Now let's, and then from here we want to understand why we are separate from God, why we don't see God, why we think that God is turning uh, turning his back on us, right? That's what we want to understand from here. In this poem, Rumi forces us to ask questions and find out why we are separated from the Creator. He hopes by asking these questions, he will succeed in making us understand that the reason of separation is us and not the Lord. You see, as I mentioned, I don't know. I guess it's called reverse psychology. He's going. He Rumi here. He wants us to realize that the reason that we are feeling distance and separated, all the things that he said from the beginning to here, the reason is us, not the Almighty. And now let's prove it. We are using uh, verses from Masnavi, because in Masnavi, this is his Sufi teaching. He explains everything clearly. Here, these are love poems. This is like a dialogue he has with the Creator, and he goes this way and that way, and he's a poet, a very profound poet, and he elaborates this way, that way, goes up and down, and this way and that way. Just and he's basically, you see, Rumi wants to talk to Almighty. He just loves him. They and in the and God loves Rumi too. Obviously, it's like a two-way relationship, and they just have talk. Call as one of the Sufi teachers in Iran says, if you love somebody and you're looking for them, and hoping that the beloved shows up, even if he comes at the door and he curses at you, you're still happy because you hear the voice of the beloved. The beloved was gone, was missing from your life. Now he or she shows up, and you see him, you hear him. Even he curses at you, it makes you happy. You see, and that's the way Rumi is with Almighty. Whatever Almighty says makes him happy. Doesn't matter, because as long as there is relationship, as long as there is dialogue, he's happy. And we learn from Rumi. That's how we are. That's the goal we have in our journey, in our path, to get to the point that we always in connection. As you know, in love relationship, the worst thing is indifference, right? Indifference is the worst thing. That's the end of the relationship, basically. If you are in a love relationship with your spouse or a friend or anything, anybody else, and there is indifference, that means it's over, right? Even if 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 God forbid I do something to my beloved and they come uh, and tell me, oh, you did this wrong, the baba curse at me, I am still happy because I the relationship is still going. As soon as there is silence and absence, that's end of it. So uh, that's why we need to keep the dialogue open and communicate back and forth. Here is a beautiful verse from book 5, verse 550 from Masnavi. چون ز زنده مرده بیرون می کند نفس زنده سوی مرگی می تند. And since he brings out the dead from the living egoic mind moves toward a state of death. Please pay attention to this verse. It's a very beautiful verse, profound and deep. But in everything worthy of learning, you have to spend time and work on it to understand it. God, who is alive, will always remove the death, which is ego. So here Rumi says, in us there is spirit, there is light, and there is ego. The spirit and the soul is alive, and the ego is dead. Therefore, the worldly intelligent ones are always sabotaging themselves and destroying the world around them because it's dead. They think they are reforming the world and doing good, but in reality, they are destroying the world. They are aimlessly busy and accomplishing nothing of value. This is a very important verse. So we have to look at ourselves and find out if we are destroying ourselves and the world around us. And worldly intelligence is the minor intellect. So here, so as we said here, he brings out, he removes the dead, separates the dead from the living, right? Therefore, the ego will always goes toward death. The ego, which is in our eye alive and reality is dead, is always moving toward death. So that's why that's why the Sufis say ego is a destroyer of itself and others because it's dead. He wants to tell us, I'm a dead thing. Do not come to me. Don't rely on me. I'm dead. and I create death, go toward your soul, your spirit, which is alive. You see? So this is a great lesson for us, that we be careful and we realize and we be aware and mindful of the fact that the ego is a is death blow to everything, because it's dead. He wants to destroy everything. That's I guess a beautiful uh, verse, and you can look at it and contemplate. Hopefully you can get more out of it. باد تند است و چراغم ابتری، زو بگیرانم چراغ دیگری. This is verse 3108 from book 4. The wind is fierce, and my lamp is an imperfect one and useless, an imperfect and useless one. I will light another lamp from it. The wind is fierce, and my lamp is an imperfect and useless one. I will light another lamp from it. So now what he's talking about here? My lamp here means my mind, ego, and egoic mind, but at the same time we need it for survival. So there is two light, he's saying. There is two light. There is one light which is imperfect and useless, which is the ego. It has a little bit of a light, very little. It's dead, he said upstairs, up in this verse, I'm sorry. He's dead. But it has a little bit of light. We feel it's alive. We think and have the illusion that it's alive. But there is another light which since the wind is fierce and this lamp of mine, this imperfect and useless one, is going to die soon, I have to take advantage of the time I'm here, and from this light I light the other light, which is the permanent light. I have a temporary light. I have to get the light from here and light the permanent one, the other one. My lamp here means my mind, ego, and egoic mind. But at the same time, we need for survival, obviously. So you see, there's two lamps. There is a one temporary, basically our life in this earth. I mean, lucky, if you're lucky, you can make it to 100, say, right? After 100, all of us will go. So we have to be mindful of the fact that we are here temporarily. But there is another light which is permanent. That's our soul. Here Rumi says it's fierce. The wind is fierce. This lamp will die, will go away, will extinguish. So make sure, take advantage of the time you're here, and from this from this lamp, light the other lamp. Two lamps. Okay, this is now he's doing it. He's bringing a lot of examples from real world for us to understand, because there is no lamp in us, obviously. I mean, and the other, but he's using analogy for us to understand that there is two lamps here, a temporary lamp and a permanent lamp. This temporary lamp is here to light the permanent one. That's what he's saying. Now here we're going back to the poem number 50. بر دل من که جای توست، کارگه وفای توست، هر نفسی همی زنی زخم سنان. چرا why you are at every moment hurting my heart, which is your place and location, and is always loyal to you. We are asking why, and after asking this question repeatedly, we realize that God is not doing it, but we are doing it to ourselves. Okay. So this is important. Two lamps. Remember, always visualize two lamps. One is temporary, one is permanent, and we have to light the permanent one with the temporary one, because the temporary one will go away, will die, but we have the permanent one, and it has light. The lamp is on. چون که غم بینی تو استغفار کن. چون که غم بینی تو استغفار کن. غم به امر خالق آمد. کار کن. When you feel pain, ask pardon of God. Pain comes by command of the Creator. Go and work hard and try not to repeat your mistakes and error. This is uh, from Book 1, verse 836. This is Rumi. When we feel sad, we have to apologize and repent and open our hearts and bring the Creator to our core. The sadness comes because we put the physical and materialistic stuff in our hearts and core. This is Rumi. This is Rumi. It's not me. He says, when you see sorrow in yourself, when you're sad, you're down, you're uh, don't feel good, repent. Because this sorrow, sadness, uh, depression came from Almighty, came from created. Go work. Go work. Work on yourself. What you have done wrong, correct it. Because it came from Almighty, from the Creator. See, when when Rumi says something, he doesn't say it because he heard it from somebody. Maybe he heard it at the beginning, but he when he says something, he has experienced it with all his being, with his core. He doesn't say something to us if he doesn't believe 100% profoundly. He won't say it. That's how he is. He always tells you the truth 100% with no uh, condition. He doesn't uh, beat around the horse. What do he just tells you the truth, clean. He doesn't go around this way and that way. He's straightforward. گفت مفتی ضرورت هم تویی، بی ضرورت گر خوری مجرم شوی. He replied, you are the judge of your necessity. If you eat without necessity, you will sin. This is book 6, verse 530. Now, these verses are selected. Mr. Shahbazi, which I've used his material, he is selecting this from Rumi, from Masnavi, to uh, to give commentary on the poem that we read. Now, these are usually coming from stories. Rumi puts all his teaching in stories to make it entertaining, so we don't get bored. He wants to make sure uh, we are stick with him, because if he says it dry, we would walk away, right? This is human nature. He knows about entertainment and how to entertain people, so he says it in the form of stories. And this is coming from a story, by the way, but it's Mr. Shahbadi chooses it because it has a good point in it. That's why like here there's two people talking to each other, or maybe it's two birds, as a matter of fact, uh, and then uh, and then this is what comes. One bird says to the other, and then we use it here. In every moment, we act like the workshop of God. Whatever you plan to do, it is enhancing, and is it enhancing my spiritual life, or does it only create and add to my attachment? So here Rumi says, in every situation, you have to see what is necessary for you, and you take that. Anything else is going to make you sinful. He replied, you are the judge of your necessity. So Rumi tells us, because in that story, bird, this, that, human, everybody is us. Everything happens in us. He says the stories to tell us about what is happening in us. So if you are in a situation, he's telling us, if we are in a situation and We are the one, we are the judge of what we should take and what we should leave, what we should do and what we should not do. And we do it without necessity, you will sin. You will be a mujrim. It's sinful, and also it means. Uh, oh, I went down. I'm sorry. I don't know why I went so down. Something I did. Mujrim means you are uh, you done something wrong. Okay, if you take something without necessity, you're the responsible one. You are have wronged yourself. You have committed a sin. It's your fault, basically, and you are the judge. You are the judge to realize and to figure out and to decide and to judge what should do and what you shouldn't do in every situation. If it is necessary, do it. If it's not, don't do it. See, for every action that we take and any decision that we make, Rumi says, be careful. You're the judge. You have to figure out it's good for you or not. And if you do it without necessity and it's out of greed, you will pay for it. And you are uh, sinful, uh, and you've done wrong to yourself. Now, this is again a poem from the uh, a verse from poem number 50, which we did at the beginning. ای تو به نور مستقل وی تو ز اختران خجل بست دلی میان دل زبرگمان چرا. Oh, you are alive to my light, and the stars are ashamed of their light when they realize how shining is your light. Why, due to your delusion, you become doubtful. So we are alive to the Creator's, the Almighty's light, right? And our light, if we are really in connection and close to Almighty, the stars are ashamed of their light. Even the sun, the Sufis say, the shine of the strength of sun's light in front of the light that exists in us, and we are blind to it, is amazing. This light that we see in the physical world compared to our own light, which we are ignorant about, from it, and we are blind to it, is amazing. The light of our heart is infinite times shinier and stronger than the light of sun. That's what this is not only Rumi. I have heard it from a lot of other Sufis, Sufi poets, especially in Iran. They mention that if you see your light, you'll be amazed of the strength of the light. It's infinite in power and strength. Then you realize this planned action of yours does not add any light to you, and you're the real and true light. We are the real and true light, and all the other lights is to compare to our own light is basically nothing. Nothing. بی مرادی شد قلاووز بهشت خفت الجنه شنو ای خوش سرشت. This one, I think we have seen it in other places too. Failure is the guide to paradise. Hear this, oh you the good-natured individual. Paradise is surrounded and encircled with pain. Now, as the Sufi teachers are telling us, there is two kind of pain: a negative and a positive pain. A negative pain, which is due to uh, the wrongs that we do to ourselves. The good pain is the pain that the universe uh, is is doing to us to alert us that we are on the wrong path, that we are uh, doing going on a wrong road, right? So that's why he says that failure is the God to the paradise. Because if you are on a route which is not taking you to the paradise, that's God will cause failure in that road, in that path, to move you to the right path. Yep, that's what it says, right? Failure is the guide to paradise, because you are on a wrong path. This wrong path is not taking you to the heaven; it's taking us to hell. So God create failure, create obstacle for us, so we move from this path and go to the right path, because that was the wrong path. That's why paradise is surrounded and encircled with pain, because failure is pain, right? I made a plan to do A, B, C, D to get to that goal that I have in my mind, and God creates an obstacle and a failure. I fail in this path, so I have pain now, right? I'm mad, I'm sad, I am disappointed, and I realize that my path is not right, is wrong. I have to change path. I have to change direction. So that's why this this is helped me, basically, right? Helped me. This is the way Rumi puts it. I hope I can explain it the way he says it. It's impossible. I'll be honest with you. I do my best, but there's no way I can do justice to Rumi. It's just such a profound man, such a profound Sufi uh, master, that it's very hard. You have to be as good as him, which I am not, for obviously. Hukm Haq. This is from book 3, verse 44-67. This is what I put into this question I asked for this session, for this meeting. حکم حق گسترد بهر ما بساط که بگویید از طریق انبساط. This is book 1, verse 2670. God's law has rolled the carpet of mercy and grace for all of us. I'm sorry, God's law has rolled out the carpet of mercy and grace for us. Speak in an open-hearted way. So basically, this is a poetic way of saying this is mercy and grace is everywhere. This is God's law. It's God's decision. It's God's plan to have mercy and grace for everybody. It's out there. It's like you're walking on it. It's so out there, and it's so obvious, and it's so it's so there. You're walking on it. It's like if you're walking in a room. There's carpet. You're walking on it, right? So God has rolled out the carpet of mercy and grace for all of us. But he expects us to open our heart and speak in an open-hearted manner. He says, I have given you guys all the mercy and grace, infinite amount of mercy and grace. But please open your heart. Open your heart and speak out to others and even to yourself in an open-hearted way. Life or God is telling us, you connect with me in an open-hearted way, not from the closure, not from closure, not from reaction. So every event must open your heart. This is the meaning of opening space around the event. Closure means operating from the ego and repeated method of the egoic mind, right? So when an event happens, we have two options. One, we can open the space, open our heart around it, and speak out in an open-hearted way, or we can close and go back to our ego and the low self and repeat the method that we have in our mind. I give you an example. Somebody comes and curse at me, right? I have two way around it. One option is two options. I can two alternative. I can I can go back, close around it, go back to my repeated way. If somebody curses at you, you have to curse back. Correct? So I close the event, the space around the event, and curse back. Went to my repeated method of my egoic mind. Or alternative two, option two, I open the space around it, open my heart, let it sink. Don't go to my repeated ways of the past, to what my mind tells me to do. And let the let the moment, let the creative force within me, let the God's light within me tell me what to do. Right? Let the moment decide for you. Let the moment, let the energy at the top at the moment, because that opening the heart gives the chance and gives a chance to, for the creative force within us to operate, right? Give it a chance. That's what he says here, Rumi. Opening hearted way, speak and act too. He says it this way, but that's everything, basically. So, life for God is telling us you connect with me in an open hearted way, not from closure, not from reaction. So, every event must open your heart. This is the meaning of opening space around the event. Closure means operating from the ego and the repeated methods of the egoic mind. Every moment we must expand. We must expand our heart. When we feel contracted, that's the word, contracted, and experience pain, we must remind ourselves that we are doing wrong and that I need to correct we need to correct our action. It is God's laws. It's God's law that we need to expand every moment and not to get contracted. So this is one of the biggest lesson of Rumi, and Mr. Shahbazi repeats it so many times, which is which makes sense, which is right, I think. Uh, I mean, he's right because he's a very good teacher. Uh, Open the space, open your heart, expand your heart. Do not uh, contract. Contraction in Sufi tradition, in Sufi teaching, there is two words are very important: qabz va bast, contraction and expansion, and contraction and expansion. And we should expand as much as we can. As a matter of fact, but by the way, contraction will happen. And the Sufis have a beautiful analogy. They say, for a bird to fly, we has to close its wing and then open it, close and open, and we are the same. We are in the same situation. It's the same. Uh, we In order for us to fly in infinity and in light and toward God, we get uh, to uh, to closure and to contraction and expansion. It happens basically, uh, but it's better to be in an expansion. But now that expansion is very profound. But this expansion that we're talking about is for every event, for everything happens to our life. We are supposed to. The Rumi says, open your heart, expand your heart, and give a space to it, and the the creative force that is within you, and we are blind to it and we are not even aware of it, decide what to do. Do not go to your ego, do not go to your lowest self, do not go to your repeated methods and old method that you have in your mind. Don't operate from there. Operate from open-heartedness and expansion. Therefore, since we know that if we bring a thing from the material world to our core, we will contract. So we need to decide and realize that we cannot receive joy from outside things. We have to always expand our hearts. In reality, when we expand, you confess that the things that our mind shows us are not important and that expansion is my goal. Then miraculously you will find out that your problems are solved and the world and everything looks beautiful. So because when we encounter a challenge in this world, then most of the time people go to their mind and the lowest self and ego and to the patterns that they have uh, saved in their memory in their mind and operate from there. And not only they don't solve the problem, they make it worse, right? Make it worse. But here, if we expand our heart and we realize that the things that our mind shows us is not important, the expansion is important. So Rumi says the event happens to us not because they want to punish us or they want to cause pain and suffering for us. No, the events happens for us to teach us to expand our heart. That's the reason for the events. That's what Rumi says. So when we do that, when we expand our heart and we create space about the events, then the event would solve itself. The creative force will bring the best solution to the problem at hand. That's what Rumi says here, right? So everything would solve. That's why people who are spiritual people, they solve the problem very easy. They practice uh, this what we discuss here, expansion of heart and opening, expansion, opening the heart, opening space about the event, allow the creative force to come up with the solution, which will come, because the creative force that runs and manages the whole universe is in us too. How this force who is managing this universe, this complex, infinitely complex world and universe, cannot solve my problem, which is so little compared to the events and mechanisms of the universe. You see, that's what here he said. You see, you know why you worry about this thing? You have the creative force of the universe who can solve any problem because it's managing the whole world, running the whole universe. Why you worry about it? It's going to solve your problem easy. It's nothing, as a matter of fact. That's what it says here. ای بگرفته از وفا گوش کران، ای بگرفته از وفا گوش کران، چرا بر من خسته کرده ای روی گران، چرا Oh, you beloved, why you are not loyal to me and running away from me, and why you're uncaring to me who is hurt by your indifference. And I'm hurt by your indifference. This is from the poem that we did. The mind, intelligence, and intellect that we all possess are defective and unhelpful. There is a lamp that exists to light another lamp, which is called presence. And we use, so there is two lamps now here. This is another way of looking at it. A lamp of minor intelligence and intellect and minor intelligence and is effective and unhelpful. There's another lamp which is called presence, and we need to use this minor lamp to light the major lamp. The minor lamp is minor intellect, the major lamp is major intellect. The minor lamp is the minor intellect, and the major lamp is a presence. A presence at the moment, right? To be present at the moment. In other words, we need to spend our time in this world to gain the light of God in our heart so we can see the Creator with our heart's eyes before our death. So we have accomplished our goal. Basically, here Rumi says and by and Mr. Shahbazi is this is his interpretation, which is from Rumi, which makes a lot of sense. That uh, the time is limited. We have this temporary life, and we have a lamp, and from this lamp we have to light the other lamp. And if we don't do it, if we do not see the Creator with our eyes, with our heart eyes in this world, we won't be able to see it on the other side. That's what Rumi and other Sufis saying. This is my dad used to tell us all the time. You have to open your eye here. That's why there is a, I don't know, it's an ayah or it's a hadith, I don't know, but it says if you are, if you're blind here, you would go beyond, you would come to, at the other side blind, and you have vision here, you will have vision on the other side. So that's why it's important to use the temporary light, the lamp, I'm sorry, to light the permanent lamp. We are on a very, very short time. We have a short time in this world, right? They say when we die, God forbid, inshallah, God willing, inshallah, all of you guys make it to 100, more than that. But they say when somebody dies, they say, God asks how long you were in the world. He says, maybe it was one day, maybe it was a minute, maybe it was a blink of an eye. It's that short. True. All of three is right, right? All three is right. They're not mutually, all of those three can be right. It's not mutually exclusive because the time we have here is so short, it's so limited, and God is telling us, use this time I gave you to light the permanent lamp. Right? That's what he's saying us. باد تند است و چراغم ابتری سو بگیرانم چراغ دیگری. This is we saw that verse before, book 43108. The wind is fierce, and my lamp is an imperfect and useless one. I will light another lamp from it. The reason the first lamp, the lamp of the mind and intelligence and intellect is imperfect and useless because it's temporary. It will die. It will go away. It will extinguish. But the other lamp, if we can light it, it's forever. It's temporary. So basically, Rumi says, use this moment, use this opportunity that God gave all of us to light the other lamp. In this verse, Rumi reminds us that life is short and we have limited time in this world, and we are not in our body and this world, and if we are not in our body and this world, we cannot save our soul or obtain salvation, which is lighting the permanent lamp. We blink and our life will end soon. Yeah, it's 8 o'clock, guys. I don't know if you want me to go on or stop. I know. Peter Khan, what do you think? You're the mobster.
Thank you. No, that was very good. Thank you so much.
So that's good. So
We just,
it was good stuff, huh? Hopefully.
yeah. I mean, it's not easy to distinguish the
Oh no.
two. It takes time.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Rumi doesn't expect us, Bita Khanum, to get it fast. He wants us to just, as soon as long as we are in it, we breathe in that environment is good, because we realize that there's two lamp and one it will die soon.
Mm.
So let's light the permanent one. So that's, you're right, absolutely, you're right. And
Yeah, and I think the example of how, when we suffer, it's because our ego is getting hurt. So if someone insults us, so our kind of instinct is to insult them back. But then that's the function of the ego. So we remain contracted in pain and suffering. So that's the chance to realize our creativity. There are many alternative ways of responding. And the more we can discover those, which is patience, like you always talk about acceptance or patience, then we don't have to go down to that level. And then little by little, the heart gets expanded. So I feel like we keep suffering until we hear this message. Yeah.
Absolutely. You're right. Thank you. It's very
Yeah.
good, by the way.
Thank you.
Jill, do you have any comment, suggestion, any?
When it says the wind is fierce, is the wind the ego?
The wind of time and the ego too. I think it's wind of time, meaning that the wind is fierce, meaning this lamp will die, will extinguish sooner or later, right? It's a permanent. It's a permanent. I'm sorry. The minor intellect or intelligence is the small, the temporary lamp. It says the wind is fierce. This lamp will extinguish sooner or later. Will go away. Will die. Will darken. What do you, so that so take advantage of the opportunity that you have, the time that you have, and light the permanent lamp.
I'm confused about, so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, so when it says there is a lamp that exists to light another lamp, which is called presence. So
Yeah,
when I
but
think of that, is that like the concepts of being in the present
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
and understanding your surroundings and understanding God and understanding like getting rid of your ego? So it is like presence, being in
yes.
the present moment.
Being at the moment. Exactly right. Because when we are not in the moment, we are in our mind. You know that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I have experienced it so vividly. I am talking to somebody and they're talking and I'm in my mind. I'm not even listening to them.
Mhm.
Being present at the time, at the moment means that you are aware, you're there. A lot of time we're not even there. I mean, physically we're there. Psychologically and spiritually we're not there. We're somewhere else. You see, most people operate from there because the ego puts you in your mind. It imprisons you, jails you in your mind, basically. So you don't enjoy the present. Yeah, absolutely, you're right. That's what it means. Yeah, you're right.
So you can't light the major lamp without being in the present.
No, you're right. As soon as it's the same thing, as soon as you light the permanent or the major lamp, as you say it, you'll be in presence. Yeah, you'll be here and now. Basically, being at the moment means being here and now. It's a gift. We remember that thing we used to say. You know, uh, uh, future history, past is history, future is mystery, present is the right now is the present. Now it's called is a gift. That's why they call him present. You see, that's a saying. It's a beautiful proverb in English. Yeah, being at the moment, being at here and now. Yeah, most people are not, my friend Jill. You know that, right? I have experienced so many times. I am somewhere, my mind takes me here and there.
Mhm.
To 50 years, 5 years ago, future. I'm not there at all. I mean, most people are like that. You look at people, they look at you, but they're not looking at you really. And if you look at, I remember my dad. It was like this. When you talk to him, you felt that he's really here and listening to you. He was really there and listening to you at that moment. He was there, right there. So this is exactly true. Spiritual people are in the present all the time. Yes.
Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. We have you guys are the pillars of this of the group. So I'm so happy to have you guys. God bless you guys and see you next time, huh?
Yeah, see you
Take
next time.
care.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Yeah.